Good morning, Elkton, Cecil County, and beyond. This is your Monday morning lawyer, attorney Jobeth Bowers, coming at you from my office here in Elkton, Maryland. Got a little bit of a switch on the theme here. We were supposed to be doing the scam related PSA episodes all month. We had a special guest scheduled for the day, and then, as it would happen in our world, emergency hearings happen. We needed to kind of reschedule this one. So we're still going to do the scams and the elder law episode, just not this week. But it gives us an opportunity to talk about something that recently has felt like a scam. Okay. Auto insurance rates. If you have not had your auto insurance rates jumping up over the past 6-8 months, year and a half, then you probably don't pay for your own auto insurance. It's happening to absolutely everybody. We are going to talk about the do's and don'ts when it comes to shopping for a new policy, changes that you can make in your coverage that will lower your rates but not impact your coverage drastically. Again, because what I don't want is to give you advice that if you need to call my office because you were injured in an accident, you're in a worse position than you were in before. So we're going to get into all those tips today and talk about ways that you can save money on your auto insurance, because everybody right now, and I mean it, everybody, that's not kind of a generic everybody, like all insurance companies over the past year and a half, some even longer, have been requesting and getting increases through the Maryland Insurance Administration. And so that means that they're raising rates across the board. I'm not just talking about, oh, I got a speeding ticket or I got in an accident that I was at fault for, so my rates are going up. But yeah, that's going to happen too. You may even have companies drop you if you get into too many accidents more frequently than they would before. But first, I need to plug the event, the fundraiser event, the benefit for Live Like Jen, that is happening this Thursday. If you don't have your tickets yet, go to betweentwominds.com, because you probably can't scan that QR code if you're watching this podcast from your phone. You know, the QR code idea is great, but in real practicality, whatever. It is what it is. No need to get on the soapbox about that. Go to that show. Jen is battling stage 4 cervical cancer. We are raising funds to cover medical care that is not covered by health insurance. A topic for another day: health insurance, what it covers and what it doesn't cover, and why you should use it if you were injured in an accident. But that's not today's topic. Today's topic is on auto insurance rates going through the roof for a lot of people. So, what should you do and what shouldn't you do? Number one, a service that I have offered for years, whether you are a client of mine or not. Send me an email, same email address as above, the info@bowerslawmd.com, the one that you would use if you had a question that you wanted to have on this show. But you can also send it to me to have an absolutely 100% free Maryland auto insurance review. If you're from another state, don't write me about this. You can, and I'll try to find you somebody in your state that can advise you. But the insurance laws, just in the states that are surrounding us, Delaware and Pennsylvania and New Jersey, are so different than Maryland that I don't give advice on what to do with your auto insurance policy in those states, because the way that they impact claims is totally different than the way that they impact claims in Maryland. I will ask you to send me what's called your declaration page. It's kind of the itemization of all the coverages that you have. If you don't know what I'm talking about, zip back to the episode that we did where we talked about full coverage and whether or not you're covered. It's the same kind of page that goes through all the different types of coverages and the amounts that you have. Send that to me. I will give you a review. I I will give you any sort of tips that I might have on how to make your policy look more like mine. I'd like to think that I am super covered. And again, I don't sell insurance. So there's no sales pitch at the end that says, and I can sell it to you for $3.99. Like there's none of that. You're not going to get that. You're going to get a list of things to take to your agent or a new agent if you're shopping insurance coverage and say, hey, how much would it cost for me to do this and do this and do this? You get the prices and you find out if it's worth it for you. I'm just going to give you the guidance, okay? I will tell you that every piece of advice that I give to somebody in one of these insurance reviews will be something that if in the future they get in an accident and call my office, they will wish that they had made the changes. That much I guarantee. Now, whether or not the cost makes sense, that's up to you. But at least I'm giving you the information, and then you can go find an insurance agent that you are comfortable with and buy those increases in coverage and those little tweaks in coverage. Some of them are very, very minor things. Some of them are things that I guarantee you, because they're so new in Maryland's law, that you probably don't even have them on your policy, no matter how good that policy is, because they're not an obligation to ask you to add it unless you have a brand new policy. So if you have an old and good policy, it's still worth doing this review because you might get something good. But we're talking about lowering rates here. One of the ways to do that is to shop other carriers. How do you do this? Number one, don't do it online. I've probably said this before here. I've said it many other times. I don't care who you vote for, but if you bought your auto insurance online, you're dead to me. Now, all jokes aside, you're not actually dead to me, but I guarantee you 9 out of 10 times, if you bought your auto insurance online and not through a person, not through an agent, there's something wrong with it. They have slipped something in. They've had you decrease or waive a coverage that they haven't told you about, because they are driving that rate to a price, not to the coverage. So it's almost never good news. So always use an agent. The agent gets a percentage of the rate that you would have paid had you bought it online. The only thing getting richer, you're not saving money if you buy the policy online. You're not, because you could buy the exact same policy from the exact same company through an agent for the exact same price. And then the insurance carrier cuts them a commission check. You're not getting it cheaper by cutting out the agent. What you're getting is service and somebody that's human that's actually going to pick up the phone when you have a question or a problem at no additional charge to you. So the key is this. Number one, you got to determine who you're insured with right now. Are they a captive agent? What is a captive agent? That means there's a sign out front that says State Farm or Allstate or Nationwide, and the only thing that they can sell you when you walk through the door is that company. Okay? Or are they an independent agent? And you'll see this because their sign might actually have, or some of their literature might actually have 6 or 7 different companies featured on it. If they have 6 or 7 different companies featured on it, those are like the major companies that they can write lines for. They probably can write lines for 20 or more. Most of them have access to 20 or more insurance lines. I'm not saying to jump away from a captive agent. All I'm saying is that if you're with a captive agent, you're going to want to go to an independent agent to get more varieties. Have me look at your policy first, give it the green light or give you suggestions, and then take that to the independent agent to say, I want this or better. Show me my options. Just out of the gate, because of the nature of them having access to 20 or more companies, you're more likely than not to be able to find a cheaper rate. If you don't, or it's not cheaper enough, then find those other captive agencies, the ones that you're not with, and the ones that, because you can't go to an independent agent and buy State Farm. You have to buy State Farm from a State Farm agent. So then you go to a State Farm agent. Here in Elkton, I recommend Steve Simmons. He's fantastic. Contact my office if you want that. We'll give you his information if you can't find him on Google. There are other great agents no matter where you are. So if you're in another place in Maryland and you want somebody close to you, even though most of this stuff is done online and over the phone these days, so anybody licensed in your state, no matter where they're located, his office is probably as far northeast as you can get in the state of Maryland. So if you're in the far southeast area, so as far away as you can or way out west, you could still call his office and get insurance coverage in Maryland. I think they also write in Pennsylvania and Delaware, but that's a question for him, not for me. I'm also not going to advise you on those policies. You want to save money. Do not cut your coverage. Again, go back to that episode that was entitled, Are You Fully Covered? That's going to get deep into the whys of not cutting certain coverages. But here is a coverage change that you can make that makes a lot of sense, especially if you are a good driver or a great driver. And when I say that, I mean you feel like you're unlikely to cause an accident. You're unlikely to get a speeding ticket or other driving violation that's going to, on its own, make your rates go up. The reason this is important is because one of the greatest ways, one of the biggest factors in your insurance rates are your deductible for collision coverage. Now, collision coverage is paying to repair your vehicle. These two things go hand in hand with not only how to save money, but a large reason why a lot of the rates are going up, up, up. The cost of materials. More and more these days, there's more and more technology, electronics and otherwise, in the front of these vehicles, which is where the brunt of these accidents happen. It's getting more and more expensive to repair these vehicles. So the rates go up, 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 up. But if you lower the risk to the insurance company on paying for the damage to your vehicle or another person's vehicle by raising your deductible, you're going to save a ton of money. I mean, sometimes hundreds of dollars a month by taking a $500 deductible and raising it to $1,000. If you save $100 a month by adding $500 to your deductible, it's paid for itself in the first 6 months. I mean, you're in the black. It actually pays for itself in the first 5 months. Here's why you do it if you think you're a good driver. Number one, if you don't cause the accident, you're not paying that deductible because the other driver's insurance company is going to pay to repair your vehicle or pay the total loss on your vehicle most of the time. Now, there may be some specific scenarios where you want to use your insurance company. When you do, you will eventually get that deductible back. So ultimately, you're still not paying the deductible, even if you start the process through your own insurance company. You might pay it up front, but you'll get it back. Different episode, we'll talk about why you might want to use your own insurance companies. It's for higher end vehicles to get, again, we'll talk about it in the future. If for whatever reason in the state of Maryland, the driver who caused your accident did not have insurance at all, no matter what your policy says your deductible is, if it's an uninsured motorist claim, by statute, your deductible is only $250. I don't care whether it's $1,000. I don't care if you find some way to make it $5,000. It doesn't matter. If it's an uninsured motorist claim, that deductible goes down to $250. And if they're successful in recovering money from the uninsured party, which usually doesn't happen, you may also get that $250 back. Very, very rare. Don't ever count on that happening. It's probably not going to happen. That's the big tip. Raise that deductible. Worst case scenario, you're paying some extra money if you cause an accident to get your vehicle repaired. Do not waive PIP. Do not decrease PIP. Do not decrease those liability or uninsured motorist coverages. Those are the least expensive parts of your policy. In fact, we've ran those numbers for you before, jumping through some of these companies, jumping from $2,500 in PIP coverage to $10,000 in PIP coverage. Sometimes it's only $2, $3 a month. And the break even on that is like 150 years. You'd have to go 150 or so years of paying that premium and never using the coverage in order to lose money on the deal. You use that if you get in an accident where there's injuries one time over a 150-year period, you're making money on that deal. All right. So that's the big tip. Don't cut those coverages. Again, reference back if you have questions about it, or when in doubt, just contact my office at the address above, because for free, whether you are a client or a former client or just some random person who wants advice on their auto insurance policy in the state of Maryland who happened upon this video, free, $0. I will review your policy and give you some suggestions on what you should do to make it better. That way you're not caught being like, oh, I thought I had that coverage if you do get injured in an accident. It's my least favorite conversation to have with clients, because at that point in time, it's too late to fix it. So that's all I got for you. Thank you all for tuning in. If you missed this episode live, check it out on YouTube, because it'll be there after the fact. All of our episodes are there, either at bowerslawmd.com on the podcast tab or on the Bowers Law YouTube channel. We will be rescheduling that episode about scams that involve elder law, probably sometime mid-July and maybe even next week. I'm not sure yet. I'm waiting for our special guest to get out of their obligation from this morning, and then we will set that up. We will do our best to announce it ahead of time, so be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get alerts on episodes like that one, or really any of our other episodes. So again, don't hesitate. If you've got a question, whether it's something that you know we do or not, info@bowerslawmd.com. That's the place to send the email. We will get it on here in the future. And again, if it requires us bringing in a special guest because it's not an area of law that I work within, I'm going to get that special guest. We'll get that scheduled. And again, by subscribing on YouTube, you're going to get advance notice on when that comes in. One last plug for Thursday's show, Live Like Jen. It's a fun, playful, interactive mind reading and hypnosis show. And 100% of the ticket sale cost will go to Jen and her battle with cancer. So till next time, this is your Monday Morning Lawyer tuning out. Thank you for being here, and be safe and be well out there.